Enzo is in Nairobi, Kenya, and the journalist Brunelli Joseph is joining us from Port-au-Prince in Haiti. Farai, first of all, what's the reaction in your region?
Wolf, the reaction has been swift and scathing. The Botswana government, for example, said that they found the American president's utterances as being irresponsible, reprehensible, and racist. We've had a reaction as well from the Somalis who thought that this was a fake news, that if it were true that he said these things about their country, then they do not deserve any response whatsoever. People, of course, have been talking on social media and saying, really weighing into this argument and saying, look, Africa is not what the president says it is, and posting pictures of beautiful scenes from the Cape to Cairo. I say, here I am today on a Friday in my, then the word the president is supposed to have used. It's been a completely united front, including from the African Union, and indeed, people are wondering why there is such a disconnect between American diplomats on the ground and the utterances coming from the president's office. You remember back in October, the massive bomb went off in Somalia, and the U.S. charged affairs, together with his team, went to the hospital and donated blood for the survivors of that awful, terrible crash. So people have been talking about this all day long in our part of the region in Kenya, and of course this may well carry on over the weekend, Wolf. It's been an interesting to see how Africans have reacted.
I suspect it will. Farai, stand by. Brunelli, you're in Haiti. What's been the reaction there?
Well, it's slowly we've been getting a lot of reaction. Today is the eve of the 8th anniversary of the earthquake, so it's, the timing really couldn't be any worse. However, the government is mostly focused on that. The people focus on that, but slowly people are just mostly outraged. They consider that Donald Trump's remarks are racist. They are disrespectful. Some don't think that we should even give these words and remarks any attention because they're not worth their attention. Haitian people are known to be very proud and resilient. So we overall, although people are very angered, feel that President Trump can't really destroy or sway Haitians' dignity. So unfortunately, we're mourning, so we haven't gotten a lot of flashback. I think people are just focusing on the 8th anniversary of the earthquake in Haiti today.
Yeah, exactly 8 years ago, hundreds of thousands of Haitians were killed in that earthquake. Patrick, you're in El Salvador for us. What's been the reaction there?
Well, we just had a few minutes ago El Salvador's president, and this is a close ally of the U.S. in the region, but he's hitting back, saying that these comments by President Trump, alleged comments, hit at the dignity of the Salvadoran people, and that they reject them entirely. And you don't have to really go very far to understand why. You know, this is the newspaper from this morning that says that Trump insults El Salvador and calls it a país de mierda. You know, you don't have to speak Spanish to understand what they are saying there. Well, people find these comments racist. They don't understand them when they have such a close relationship. And they really say that it's adding insult to injury, because just a few days ago, the United States said that they're changing immigration policy and they're proposing in the next 18 months deporting some 200,000 Salvadorans, or at least making them illegal aliens who would then be up for deportation, which would have a massive impact on this country that relies on so much of these remittances that come from people who live of Salvadoran descent in the United States. So it has really turned this relationship completely around in just a few days. What had been a good relationship, of course, U.S. diplomats here are trying to repair some of the damage, saying that it's a beautiful country, but perhaps it's damage that just cannot be undone, Wolf.
Patrick Ottman, Farai, Enzo, Brunelli, Joseph, thanks for those reports. While the president's comments may be shocking, they certainly aren't necessarily all that surprising, given what he said in the past. But as former U.S. Undersecretary for Political Affairs, former U.S. Ambassador to NATO, Nicholas Burns points out, this may be, from his perspective, a new low. This is what Burns tweeted. The damage overseas from Trump's ignorant and racist remarks can't be exaggerated. No president in the last 100 years has reduced America's moral authority as he has. Let's bring in our global affairs